Chapter 9, Voyagers Volume 2, Time Shift. Ascending and descending planets. The bridge zone, shift to Agartha, ascending and descending planets. The speed of evolution of a planet is directly connected to the rate of evolution of the life forms upon the planet. In the Bridge Zone project, we are going to shift Earth entirely out of its present Dimension 3 time cycle, which constitutes accelerating the pulsation rate of particles and shifting the angular rotation of particle spin by 22.5 degrees. In order to make this shift successfully, 8% of Earth's population have to fully assemble the 5th DNA strand, 144,000 individuals must assemble the 6th DNA strand, and the remaining populations must rapidly reach an accretion level of 4.5, which is the assembly of all of the 4th DNA strand and half of the 5th DNA strand. Remember that consciousness will perceive as solid the dimensional frequency bands one dimension below its present station of focus. For the consciousness of humanity to experience the physicality of Earth at a 3.5 accretion level, at a 3.5 accretion level of the bridge zone, that consciousness, I think this might be accretion. Is this accretion or accretion? I think it's accretion. I might have been pronouncing it wrong. I might start pronouncing it accretion level. I'm not sure, though. Anyway, so the physicality of Earth at the 3.5 accretion level of the bridge zone, that consciousness must have a minimum of 4.5 accretion, which comes with assembly of... Oh, crap. Sorry about that. Which comes with assembly of all of the 4th DNA strands and half of the 5th DNA strand. The human collective represents part of the Earth's matter body, and if the collective accretion level of human beings remains at its present 3 through 3.5 average, the accretion level and vibration rate of the Earth's grid will be held down. In the bridge zone time continuum, the Earth's accretion level will be raised from its current 2.5 to a 3.5 level of accretion. In order for the Earth's grid to reach this accelerated level of accretion in time to begin entering the bridge zone by 2012, most of the human populations must be able to reach no less than a 4.5 accretion level. If the majority of the populations cannot reach the 4.5 accretion level, the vibration rate of Earth will not reach 3.5 and the planet will not shift into the bridge zone time continuum. In terms of a planet shifting into another time continuum, what is really taking place is the pulsation rate of particles within the 3 levels of the planet's body is being increased, and the angular rotation of particle spin is being shifted. These adjustments constitute a shift of the planetary bodies into faster moving time cycles. The consciousness of those upon the planet must also make such a shift, and the particles of which the body and consciousness are composed will undergo the same acceleration of pulsation speed and change in angular rotation of particle spin. Normally, when a planet reached its half point in its second ascension cycle, which constitutes the 2.5 accretion level, the electrical overtone particles of its Dimension 3 Merkaba fields would merge with their antiparticles, form a morphogenetic field, a morphogenetic wave, and transfer into the next harmonic universe into the 6-dimensional frequency bands. Also included in this morphogenetic wave are the electrical overtone particles of the Dimension 1 and Dimension 2 Merkaba fields. The Dimension 2 overtone electrical particles transfer to Dimension 5, and the Dimension 1 electrical overtone particles transfer into Dimension 4. So normally, during the half point, morphogenetic wave the clockwise rotating electrical Merkaba fields of dimension 1, dimension 2, and dimension 3 open up and merge with the counterclockwise rotating magnetic fields, magnetic Merkaba fields of dimension 4, 5, and 6. During the 10-year period surrounding the half point, all of the electrical overtone particles that Earth had pulled in from dimensions 1, 2, and 3 are stored in the morphogenetic field, are transmuted through their antiparticles and transferred into the morphogenetic field of Terra in harmonic universe 2. At the completion of an ascension cycle, 2,213 years later, the same process occurs with the magnetic base tone particles within Earth's morphogenetic field. The particles of Earth's counterclockwise rotating magnetic Merkaba fields of dimension 1, 2, and 3 open and merge with the particles of Terra's electrical clockwise rotating Merkaba fields of dimension 4, 5, and 6. Earth's morphogenetic field fully merges with that of Terra, and Earth leaves the time continua of harmonic universe 1 and shifts into the time continua of harmonic universe 2. Earth becomes Terra. During this process, the consciousness stationed within the 3 levels of Earth's body, the 6 time continua of Earth's harmonic universe 1, EUIGO cycle, also transmutes and transfers into the time cycles of harmonic universe 2. A planet's shift from the time cycles of one harmonic universe into the time cycles of the next harmonic universe usually takes place in 2 phases. The overtone particle base transfers at the half ascension cycle point, and the magnetic particle base shifts 2,213 years later, at the end of the ascension cycle. The Bridge Zone project will accelerate this process. The 2 phases of Earth's particle conversion from harmonic universe 1 to harmonic universe 2 will take place at once, between 2012 and 2017. The artificial time continuum into which Earth will shift exists between the natural time cycles of the 3rd and 4th dimensions. In the natural procession of merging the grids of Earth and Terra, the Earth's grid progressively raises in speed, beginning 15 to 20 years before the half-point cycle. The pulsation rate of Earth's dimension 1 particles raises to the rhythm of dimension 4. Earth's dimension 2 pulsation rate accelerates to the rhythm of dimension 5, and Earth dimensions 3 particles enter the dimension 6 rhythm. For a period of 5 years before the half point, Earth's grid begins to intersect with that of Terra as Earth's dimension 1 particles shift into the pulsation rhythm of the dimension 4 time continuum. Following the half point scheduled for 2017 AD, Earth would naturally begin returning to the dimension 3 through dimension 1 pulsation rhythms of the harmonic universe 1 time cycle. The Draco Zeta Resistance plans to broadcast the electromagnetic pulses of their frequency fence through the pulsation rhythms of harmonic universe 1-dimensional frequency bands. The Bridge Zone project will allow the primary particles or the primary particle base of Earth to remain at a higher level of pulsation within the Bridge Zone time continuum at the point Earth would normally begin to slow in pulsation rhythm and revert back into the harmonic universe 1 time cycles. The Earth must begin its ascent into the harmonic universe 2 particle pulsation rate now, its dimension 1 particle base accelerating to the dimension 4 rhythm in order for the entire grid, and in parentheses it says both electrical overtone and magnetic base tone particles, to shift into the dimension 4 time cycle. Earth's morphogenetic field will temporarily reach a stable 4 accretion level, the accretion level of the dimension 4 time cycle by 2012. Acceleration of the particle pulsation rhythm of Earth's grid into the dimension 4 rhythm is a normal part of the ascension cycle process. For the Bridge Zone project to succeed, this acceleration must be intense enough to raise both overtone and base tone particles into harmonic universe 2 rhythms, and must also be able to counterbalance the ULF electromagnetic pulses I think that ULF was ultra low frequency electromagnetic pulses of the frequency fence of the Draco Zeta's plan to use in 2004. If Earth does not make it into the pulsation rhythm of the Dimension 4 time cycles by 2012, full merger between the grids of Earth and Terra will not take place, the halls of Mente will not open, and Earth will not be able to shift into the bridge zone cycle. In this case, the frequency fence transmission of the Draco Zeta resistance, and in parentheses it says, should they be successful in orchestrating their 2003 experiments, will begin chain reaction Earth changes between 2012 through 2017, as a natural fusion process of particle and an antiparticle within the Earth's grids are disrupted. The frequency fence would cause the particle pulsation rhythms in certain points of Earth grid to drop rapidly in speed, while other portions of the particle base attempted to rise in speed. The fabric of Earth, or Earth's particle base, would begin to tear open and fragment. In areas of Earth's grid where this fragmentation occurred, land masses would begin to break apart, new fissures within the Earth's tectonic plates would emerge, and plate shifting would result. This does not have to occur. The populations are fully capable of accelerating their genetic evolution by consciously building DNA through working with the higher chakra centers. Well, I guess none of these crazy tectonic plates shifted, and there hasn't been any insane cataclysms. There's little earthquakes here and there, but nothing on the scale of like a pole reversal or the Earth exploding or some of that other stuff that's been described in this book. So, and again, it's 2025, so I'm assuming that this whole thing has been successful so far, and we're just going through the evolution? Question mark? I guess we'll see. We're only barely even like 2/3 through this book, so. If humanity successfully raises the pulsation rhythm of the particles that compose the physical, emotional, and mental bodies, the Earth's grid will proceed to accelerate its own pulsation rhythm into the Dimension 4 time cycle. Earth will reach a high enough pulsation rhythm by 2004 to shift out of range of the frequency fence transmissions of the halls of Mente, or the halls of Mente plan will proceed on schedule. The Guardians are confident that humanity will be able to do its part now in order to ensure its own survival. Earlier in our discussions, we have mentioned the existence of the inner Earth, Agartha, which is located in a frequency modulation zone between Earth and Earth's double in the parallel universe. Agartha represents part of Earth, and like Earth, Agartha has 3 levels of planetary body. The Earth's 3 primary body levels exist within dimensions 1, 2, and 3. There is a relationship of particle pulsation speed between Earth and her parallel double. The particle pulsation speed of Earth's dimension 2 equals antiparticle pulsation speed of parallel Earth dimension 1. Earth's dimension 3 particle pulsation speed equals that of parallel dimension 2, etc. The speed of particle pulsation within each dimensional band in the antiparticle universe is faster than that of the corresponding dimension in the particle universe. The particle pulsation speeds of the dimensional bands in the particle universe run one dimension behind those of the dimensional bands in the antiparticle universe. The speed of particle pulsation in the particle universe dimension 2 would be the speed at which antiparticles pulsate in dimension 1 of the parallel universe. Earth's dimension 2 particles are stationed within the same dimensional unified field as the dimension 1 antiparticles of parallel Earth. Particle dimension 2 equals antiparticle dimension 1. Particle dimension 3 equals antiparticle dimension 2. Particle dimension 4 equals antiparticle dimension 3, etc. The frequency bands that make up the dimension 2 particles of Earth are the same frequency bands that make up the dimension 1 antiparticles of parallel Earth. Earth's dimension 3 particles coexist with parallel Earth's dimension 2 antiparticles. Parallel Earth's dimension 2 antiparticles coexist with Earth's dimension 3 particles, etc. When observing Earth's dimension 3 landscape, which are the dimensional frequency bands that appear solid to a conscious stationed in dimension 4 of the particle universe, one perceives the contours of dimension 3 particle and dimension 2 antiparticle Earth. It is important to realize this intimate relationship between the particle content of Earth and the antiparticle Earth, if one is to understand the reality fields in which Agartha, the inner Earth, takes place. In view of the above dimensional particle and antiparticle relationships, the three levels of Earth's planetary body and those of the parallel Earth can be understood as follows. Earth's dimension 2 elemental body equals antiparticle Earth's dimension 1 iron core crystal. Earth's dimension 3 mental body atmosphere equals antiparticle Earth's dimension 2 elemental body. Antiparticle Earth's dimension 3 mental body atmosphere equals Earth's dimension 4 astral body, which is the dimension 4 gold core crystal Merkaba field of Terra stationed within the center of Earth's sun. Agartha represents an Earth reality field that exists between the Earth and her parallel double. Earth's dimension 1 iron core crystal is stationed within the first dimensional frequency bands of the particle universe at zero accretion level. Antiparticle Earth's dimension 1 iron core crystal is stationed within dimension 2 frequency bands of the particle universe, Earth's elemental kingdom, at accretion level 1. Agartha's dimension 1 iron core crystal can be viewed as being stationed halfway between Earth's dimension 1 core crystal and the core crystal of parallel Earth at particle universe dimension 2, which would represent a 0.5 accretion level in the dimension 1 frequency bands. For Earth, parallel Earth, and Agartha, the elemental body is one-dimensional band above the placement of the iron core crystal, and the mental body atmosphere is one-dimension band or dimensional band above the elemental body, or two-dimensional bands above the iron core crystal. The particle base of Earth is in dimension 1 of the particle universe at accretion level 0 to 1. The particle base of parallel Earth is in dimension 2 of the particle universe at accretion level 1 to 2. The particle base of Agartha is half in dimension 1 and half in dimension 2 of the particle universe at an accretion level of 0.5 to 1.5. The elemental body of Earth is at particle level or particle universe dimension 2, accretion level 1 to 2. The elemental body of parallel Earth is a particle universe or at particle universe dimension 3, accretion level 2 to 3. The elemental body of Agartha is at particle universe half dimension 2, half dimension 3, accretion level 1.5 to 2.5. The mental body atmosphere of Earth is at particle universe dimension 3, accretion levels 2 to 3. The atmosphere of antiparticle Earth is at particle universe dimension 4, accretion level 3 to 4. And the atmosphere of Agartha is at particle universe half dimension 3, half dimension 4, accretion level 2.5 to 3.5. From the perspective of the fourth dimension, where human consciousness is presently stationed, the dimension 1 iron core crystal of antiparticle Earth that is stationed within the overtone dimension 2 frequency bands of the particle universe, and the dimension 1 iron core crystal of particle Earth that is stationed within the dimension 1 frequency bands of the particle universe perceptually merge and appear as the sun. The sun appears to be separated by many miles from Earth. From this perspective, what appears to be the physical body of Earth is actually the low to middle dimension 3 frequency bands, the slower moving particles of Earth's quote-unquote mental body. The atmosphere on and surrounding Earth is the middle to upper dimension 3 frequency fields. The quote-unquote outer space existing beyond Earth's atmosphere represents a repulsion zone and the frequency fields of dimension 4 through 15 that exist beyond this repulsion zone. From the fourth dimensional perspective, there appears to be a separation of many miles between Earth and the Sun because of the natural repulsion zone between dimension 3 and dimension 4 creates the illusion of absence of light and expansion of space. This repulsion zone is created by the 45-degree shift of angular rotation of particle spin that occurs between one harmonic universe and the harmonic universe above. There are 5 primary repulsion zones within the 15-dimensional universe, which create the illusion of a vast distance between star systems existing within the 15 dimensions. The Earth, the planets, and the galaxies appear to be separate in space by great distances. That distance is only a natural holographic illusion created by the refraction of energy waves through varying angular angular relationships between spinning particles. All that you perceive outside of yourselves, including Earth and what happens to lie beyond in Earth's immediate solar system, actually exists at the center of Earth's sun, at varying rates of particle pulsation and angular relationship of particle spin. Earth's sun is likewise contained within a larger solar structure with other planetary bodies which would appear to exist outside of that sun from various stations of perception. The reality of the mechanics of energy is that dimensions 1 through 3 and all things contained within them exist within the dimension 4 Merkaba fields of Terra's gold core crystal, and that crystal core is stationed at the center of the sun. The gold core crystal at the center of the Earth's sun serves as an electromagnetic portal structure between harmonic universe 1 and harmonic universe 2. Though the universe appears spread out over great distances, in reality it all exists within the same place at various dimensional frequency levels of particle spin relationships. We are telling you of these hidden reality mechanics so you may begin to comprehend what will be taking place on Earth as your half-cycle period approaches and the Bridge Zone project goes into operation. We have said that Earth's accretion level will be shifted from its present 2.5 level to that of 3.5 accretion. The present 2.5 accretion level is the measurement of the frequencies contained within Earth's morphogenetic field. Accretion level 2.5 is also the measurement of the beginning of Earth's atmospheric body, the part which is closest to Earth's surface. Earth's atmospheric body represents the portion of the Dimension 3 unified field that have not yet been pulled into Earth's morphogenetic field, the particle fields of Dimension 3 that exist outside of Earth's morphogenetic field and thus outside of Earth's physical body structure. Earth's atmosphere is composed of the upper frequency bands of Dimension 3, which represent the 2.5 through 3 accretion levels. Earth's atmosphere is thus said to be at 2.5 accretion. At present, Earth's Dimension 2 elemental body is at 1.5 accretion, and its Dimension 1 particle base is at 0.5 accretion. Agartha's atmosphere is at 3.5 accretion, its elemental body at 2.5. Thus, Agartha's elemental body is located within Earth's atmosphere at a different angular rotation of particle spin than that of Earth's particles. So it appears invisible. Agartha's particle base is at 1.5 accretion. Thus, Agartha's particle base is located within Earth's elemental body. During the Bridge Zone transition, when Earth's atmosphere is shifted from 2.5 accretion to 3.5 accretion, it will be merged with the atmosphere of Agartha. Earth's elemental body will shift from 1.5 accretion to 2.5 accretion. Earth's elemental kingdom will merge with that of Agartha. Earth's particle base will shift from 0.5 accretion to 1.5 accretion. Earth's particle base will merge with Agartha's particle base. When Earth merges with Terra's grid in the Dimension 4 time cycle between 2012 and 2017, the Earth's morphogenetic field temporarily reaches a height of accretion level 4, then returns to its natural 2.5 accretion level following 2017. In the Bridge Zone project, Earth's morphogenetic content will peak at accretion level 4 when merging with Terra's grid between 2012 and 2017. Then instead of returning to its natural 2.5 accretion level Dimension 3 time cycle after 2017, Earth will return to the 3.5 accretion level. The 3.5 accretion level represents the time cycle between Dimension 3 and Dimension 4 in which Agartha's reality takes place. In the usual process, Earth's particle would undergo a 45-degree shift in angular rotation of particle spin to enter the Dimension 4 cycle, then shift back 45 degrees to return to the Dimension 3 time cycle. In the Bridge Zone, Earth will undergo the 45-degree shift of angular rotation of particle spin to merge with Terra. Instead of shifting back to 45 degrees to return to the Dimension 3 time cycle, Earth's particles will shift back only 22.5 degrees, placing Earth within the 3.5 accretion level, the time cycle between Dimension 3 and Dimension 4, merging Earth with Agartha. Earth will become the inner Earth, Agartha, through the 2012-2017 transition. Humans who have also assembled all of the fourth DNA strand and half of the fifth will perceive this transition as the emergence of new lands and structures on Earth, and the literal disappearance of some of the existing Earth structures. Humans who do not assemble these strands will perceive a different reality entirely. During this transition, the particles of Earth that are unable to fully shift into faster pulsation rate, those that cannot reach an accretion level of 3.5, will not make this shift into the bridge zone. The particles that do not shift with or shift will create a phantom Earth that will return to the dimension 3 time cycle. The phantom Earth will no longer remain attached to the morphogenetic field of Earth and Terra. This condition is referred to as a planet being cut out of the grid. The planet is no longer attached to the evolutionary imprint contained within its morphogenetic field. A phantom planet is no longer capable of evolving out of the harmonic universe time cycle in which it is placed. It is no longer considered an ascension planet. It is called a descending planet. Such a planet will continue to evolve within its harmonic universe time cycles, slowly expending the energies held within its core until its particle pulsation rhythms slow, its temperatures cool, and eventually it implodes to become a black hole. It can take billions of years for a descending planet to meet this destination. It does not occur quickly, and life can continue to evolve upon its surface for many years. In the case of Earth's coming changes, when the planet is shifted to the bridge zone, the portions of Earth's particles that do not make the shift will become a phantom or a phantom Earth, a descending Earth. The phantom version of Earth will be cut off from the interdimensional time matrix grid, and the phantom Earth will return to the dimension 3 time cycle following 2017. The entire bridge zone project was designed to keep Earth's primary particle base out of the dimension 3 time cycle because in that time continuum, the Draco's zeta resistance successfully employs the frequency fence and creates Earth destruction in 2976 AD. This probable future for the Dimension 3 time cycle can be averted if the resistance-inspired 2003 experiment does not take place. In the Phantom Earth Dimension 3 time cycle, changes occur which debilitate a portion of human civilization, and the Zeta Draco's hybrids come to, quote-unquote, help put things back together, while placing the remaining populations under covert mind control through the use of the frequency fence and holographic insert technology. Humans who do not assemble DNA strand 4 and half of strand 5 will find themselves within this probability on the Dimension 3 Phantom Earth. They will not know they are being controlled, and they will not realize that Draco Zeta's resistance manipulates and covertly directs world culture. They will not realize they are not free. Well, I mean, we all realize all this stuff, so apparently we made this transition, like the transition must have happened and is still underway, and we didn't become the Phantom Earth because myself and many other people are awake and aware that, this control system has been in place for a very long time. According to this, anyways, what do you guys think? All right, let's continue. And the souls of the Dimension 3 Phantom Earth will continuously have no idea of the ultimate destiny of soul fragmentation toward which they will be headed. Most souls caught in the Dimension 3 incarnational cycle in 2017 will have to continue reincarnating within the Dimension 3 continuum until they slowly assemble the fourth and half of the fifth DNA strand, which will be exceedingly difficult to do while under frequency fence control. Your future incarnational selves will be those humans faced with the 2976 cataclysm. Through the Bridge Zone project, the severity of this future can be lessened. If the Bridge Zone project is successful, the Dimension 4 time continuum, in which the Zetas now have their stronghold, will become free from Draco Zeta control, so the 2976 AD explosion of Earth will be avoided for the Dimension 3 Earth. The Resistance will still attempt to infiltrate and control Dimension 3 Earth, but their chances of success will be greatly reduced after losing control of the Dimension 4 continuum. Okay, so I want to know for sure, was this Bridge Zone project successful or not? Humans remaining in the Dimension 3 time cycle will not benefit from the genetic acceleration opportunity that is open to the Bridge Zone humans, as they will be cut off from the Sphere of Mente morphogenetic field, which will remain in Earth's core in Bridge Zone. They will follow a different course of evolution on descending Earth. It is much more difficult for individual souls to ascend from such a planet, as their personal connection to the sphere of mente morphogenetic field, which allows them direct access to the higher dimensional identity, also becomes severed. The Bridge Zone project is an absolute necessity to ensure the survival of Earth, and it also allows humans the opportunity to evolve beyond the reaches of the Draco Zeta manipulation. If the events unfold perfectly, all humans will shift to the Bridge Zone in 2017, and thus no one will fall under Draco Zeta dominion, but the chances of such high success are slim. It is presently essential that a critical mass of humans reach a 4.5 accretion level before 2012. If this does not occur, no one will make it to the Bridge Zone continuum. The halls of Amente will not fully open, and some degree of Earth changes will take place between 2012 and 2017. Humans who are able to assemble the fifth DNA strand can be rescued by Guardian transports, but there will be little time for such an evacuation, and the majority of the population cannot withstand transport travel to Agartha or Terra. If the Bridge Zone project is not successful, most of the human populations will be unable to escape Earth's changes, covert Draco Zeta rule, and separation from their personal soul matrix. If the Bridge Zone project fails, Earth will meet its untimely demise in 2946 AD. Guardian host matrix transplants would have to be used to shift descending planet souls into Agartha before 2976 destruction. This would constitute another massive Guardian rescue mission in the future, the prospects of which are not promising if humanity were under resistance frequency fence control. The need for this rescue will be removed if present-day humans can accept responsibility for their personal evolution now and assist the Guardians in making the Bridge Zone project a success. Your future is in your hands, and your races will live the consequences of your collective choices. Each individual has the power and the responsibility for choosing the path of personal destiny that will unfold. In choosing to ignore the reality of Earth's present multidimensional affairs, you will be subjugating yourself or your personal power to those hidden forces that will be delighted to control your destiny for you. If you are wise, you will not surrender your evolutionary survival so easily. You will have all the help you need to succeed, but humanity must also do its part and become responsible for personal evolution. 3 tracks of time. Humanity facing 3 probable futures of 3 tracks of time. The technical information we have provided on the mechanics of the Bridge Zone project serves to illustrate some of the operations of multidimensional physics. We are quite aware that it will be centuries before earthly scientific communities can comprehend some of the dynamics of which we speak. We provide the information so those of scientific persuasion might begin to realize the sophistication of true spiritual science, so they might be less prone to dismiss the importance of the information we have given. We suggest that one uses the intuitive senses when trying to understand some of the more complicated concepts we have presented, as the institutions are better equipped to translate this data into cognition than are the facilities of the logical, analytical mind alone. To simplify the meaning of the Bridge Zone project, it can be viewed as the vessel through which 3 probable future paths of development open to the human population. Between the years 2012 through 2017, there will be 3 distinct time continua into which the human consciousness can pass to continue its evolutionary journey. These time continua represent 3 different tracks of time that different portions of humanity will follow. Number 1, or time track 1, Voyagers Ascension, Dimension 4, Time Cycle, 5,532.5 year leap into the future. The first track of time opening to the human population in 2012, and the most desirable for those who can achieve it, constitutes catching the crest of the morphogenic wave between 2012 through 2017 and ascending into the Dimension 5 time cycle of Terra, or into the higher dimensional fields of Gaia and the metagalactic core. Well, how many people did you see ascend between 2012 and 2017? 0. So this might just be a bunch of nonsense or a carefully constructed CIA psyop. that was, just used to what's the word I'm looking for? To perpetuate the 2012 hype. Remember all the hype around 2012, that like and all the movies and all this stuff. That was totally a CIA psyop. So this whole book very well might be a CIA psyop. We refer to the individuals who will complete bodily ascension as the Voyagers. To become a Voyager, one must fully assemble the fifth DNA strand no later than 2022. Oh, okay. Well, maybe apparently, according to this, it's extending the. Oh well, no wait, because it's a 10-year, like it said before. Okay, well, in 2022, did you see anyone ascend? Did anyone disappear and go into another dimension? I didn't see anyone. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't just blindly accept this stuff, but it is interesting nonetheless. Even if it is a psyop, there's usually a lot of truth to be found within a psyop, because that's how they all start, is they have to give you a lot of truthful information in order to captivate your attention. And then at some point, they mix in some deceit with all the truth. So, even though I think a lot of stuff, and especially with Savior Messiah stuff, Ascension stuff, I think a lot of it's BS, but there is a lot of truth to be found in everything that I've read about it. It's just mixed in with the lies and the psyops. After 2022, this first time track is no longer an option. In this future one, would expect to experience subtle communications with a guardian group of either extraterrestrials or metaterrestrial nature prior to the ascension period. Through this communication, one will be taught how to prepare for their personal ascension and will be given times and locations as to when and where the physical event will take place. Yeah, if that really happened between these dates, people would be talking about it. People would have posted it on Instagram and TikTok and said, I got contacted by a freaking metaterrestrial, extraterrestrial, and it told me this time and place and all this stuff. None of that happened. So this very well might all be a bunch of nonsense. Let's keep reading. For individuals who are ascending but cannot fully transmute the body to do so, preparation for achieving ascension following natural death will be provided through subtle communication and spiritual work. Most ascending individuals will be required to engage in conscious cellular transmutation work and will be guided through personal spiritual work to the appropriate methodology for their personal development. Individuals who will bodily ascend, individuals who will bodily ascend will at some point in their development experience direct physical or conscious etheric contact with a guardian group. At the designated time, they will be secretly brought to the location from which they will ascend. Some will be taken via various portal routes into the halls of Mente. They will be led into the halls and assisted in transmuting their bodies into light, which constitutes raising the pulsation rhythm of particles in the body and consciousness. As light, they will pass their consciousness into the sphere of Amente, and through the portals of the halls of Amente, they will embody the frequencies of the blue flame staff of Amente within their consciousness and morphogenetic field and pass into Terra. Once transferred to Terra, such individuals will then have the pulsation rate of their consciousness slowed to Dimension 5 frequency, and they will find themselves remanifest in a less dense, more perfected version of the body. They will appear in one of several receiving stations on Terra, set up for the purpose, and will be set up for this purpose, and will be met by greeters appointed by the priests of Ur and Mu on Terra. The greeters will escort them to one of several residential learning centers appropriate to the personal level of development, and they will be provided with all necessities. Couples or groups who ascend together will be able to remain together if they so choose for a time. The Voyagers will be offered classes through which they can acclimate to their new reality, or acclimate to their new reality. and will then be offered communal residence or be hosted by private Terran families who will provide lodging, sustenance, and love. Memory of multidimensional experience will be fully returned, and the Voyagers will have the opportunity to commune with soul friends and family whom they have had forgotten in earthly life. Voyagers will learn to integrate themselves as time travelers into a culture that exists about 5,532 and a half years in the future of present-day Earth. This culture is built upon the principles of the Law of One and love, brotherhood, freedom, health, spiritual at-one-ment, and joy are the foundations upon which this society is built. It is well worth the voyage for those who can achieve ascension. Some who are on the ascension time track will not have the full fifth strand of DNA assembled, but will be close to this 5 accretion level. They will be unable to pass directly through the halls of Mente portals, so will instead be guided to transport locations on Earth, where they will be brought upon interdimensional transit craft and prepared for a journey into space. Some of those on the transports will have their consciousness transferred into a clone body of their original body form. These clones are prepared in advance through Guardian abduction, visitation, encounters. The Guardians use cloning only in cases of individuals who possess most of the necessary fifth strand DNA assembly. Guardians cloning is used for individuals who would have been able to ascend if they had not encountered genetic damage while on Earth. Cloning is used for near ascension level individuals who experienced irreparable genetic damage due to their intruder extraterrestrial manipulation, birth defects, accidents, or illness suffered on Earth. Not all individuals taking the transport ascension route will have their consciousness transferred into a clone body. Most will simply have their bioenergetic fields adjusted to facilitate rapid fifth DNA strand building. Note, clones created by the Guardian ET groups are expressly for the purpose of facilitating human ascensions. These are not to be confused with cloning tactics used by intruder Draco Zeta forces for infiltration into human culture. Voyagers on the transports will be taken into outer space, then through the Dimension 4 Merkaba field at the center of the sun, and into the halls of Amente at the Dimension 4 level. And in parentheses it says, this is the same ascension path used by souls who die, drop their bodies, and descend to Terra as soul essence. However, individuals on the transports will not be leaving a body behind. The transport craft will emerge through the core of Terra's sun in D5, then proceed to the landing facilities on Terra. Let's go back one sentence right here. However, individuals on the transports will not be leaving bodies behind. Well, if this really happened, if anyone did leave between those years, then that means people would literally have disappeared. But do you know anyone that just randomly disappeared during that time? No, me either. Like, not a single reported case of any of this happening. So I think like all this just might be a psyop, a bunch of BS. High probability, in my opinion. Like, this is a lot of BS right here that we're reading. Interdimensional transport vessels are designed for such solar passage as they are able to modulate frequency bands and alter the composition of their structure. Most human voyagers will experience a period of deep sleep, then a bit of temporary time disorientation as the transports encounter the solar passages. Once they land on Terra, the transport voyagers will experience the same orientation events as those who ascended directly through the halls of Mente. All voyagers will have a companion assigned to them. Following their arrival on Terra, the companion will assist them in adjusting to the new reality and will remain with them until the voyager has comfortably integrated into Terran culture. Some voyagers who have fully assembled the 6th DNA strand and have reached an accretion level of 6 will have the opportunity to ascend beyond Terra in Harmonic Universe 2 to Gaia in Harmonic Universe 3 or into the metagalactic core at Dimension 8 and completely leave matter form, the dimensional system, and time matrix. This is the path of full mastery Normally it is available to only the few who are born into the highest resonating genetic codes. Due to Earth's upcoming infusion of fifth-dimensional frequency in the bridge zone time track, the fifth DNA strand assembly will be made available to everyone who works consciously to assimilate the Dimension 5 frequency into the body. Once the fifth DNA strand is assembled, assembly of the sixth strand begins, and some individuals will be able to fully assemble the sixth strand between 2012 and 2017, while the halls of Mente and portals to Terra and Gaia are opened. Gaia's portals open for only 3 days in 2017. Guardians will be able to assist in the ascension procedures, those leading to Terra and beyond. The Voyagers' ascension to Terra will be done solely through private personal contact. There will be no mass landings of Guardian ships to pick up intended Voyagers. There will be no public knowledge of the logistic orchestration of these events. Individuals who are able to participate in this activity will be contacted privately and secretly guided to the appropriate location just prior to leaving. Publicly conducting such activities would serve only to cause major chaos within your social orders, not to mention military interference, so ascensions will remain a closely guarded covert Guardian activity. We present this material now to assist potential Voyagers in remembering their soul agreements to participate in these activities. Those who are intended to ascend can find this information through working directly with their own spiritual identities. Even if you do not consciously remember such soul agreements, you will feel a certain way about the ascension option when confronted with this material. If the path of ascension is the right one for you, you will sense this and find your soul self-awareness guiding you to the appropriate preparatory procedures. The ascension path is not something the Guardians have made happen for you. It is the natural path of your personal soul evolution. The Guardians do not control the ascension process. They simply facilitate humans and the souls and oversouls of humans who are ready for this natural evolutionary step. Number 2, time crack. Phantom Earth, descending planet, Dimension 3, time cycle, returning to the present. The second track of time, opening to the human population in 2017, is that of the natural procession through the half point in which Earth returns to the Dimension 3 time cycle following 2017. If the Bridge Zone project is successful, the Earth will return to the Dimension 3 time cycle, the Earth that will return to the Dimension 3 time cycle will be the Phantom Earth. The remaining particles of Earth's body that were unable to transmute to higher accretion levels. This is the least favorable option available to humanity, as this is the future in which humanity falls under the covert control of the Draco Zeta resistance. Humans who will see this future after 2012 will be those who have not assembled their DNA to at least the fourth strand by 2012. On August 12, 2003, the Draco Zeta resistance planned to motivate certain factions of the interior government to orchestrate another experiment similar to those of the Montauk Project of 1983 and the Philadelphia experiment of 1943. The interior government will be led to believe this project is for the benefit of humankind, that it will stop Earth changes from occurring in 2012. To those of the interior government who may be reading this material, please heed this warning. You are being tricked and used as pawns by the Draco's Zeta resistance. They are planning to use you to orchestrate a covert takeover through which you, the populations, and the Earth will be placed under subliminal bio-neurological resistance control. Bio-neurological resistance control. I wonder if that's referring to like Elon Musk and the Neuralink and the 5G towers and all that stuff. If you allow this experiment to take place, you will ensure that the populations remaining in the Dimension 3 time track will fall under Draco's Zeta resistance frequency fence and holographic insert control. You can stop them from putting the frequency fence in place if you refuse to participate in this experiment. Stop buying into the lies and false promises of the Draco Zeta resistance. If not for the sake of your planet or your people, then at least for the sake of your own personal safety. Rethink your positions in relation to the resistance and redirect your course of action. There is time left to shift the fate of the Dimension 3 time continuum. If the Draco Zeta plan is stopped, or is not stopped in 2003, they will begin broadcasting the electromagnetic pulses of the frequency fence of 2004 and beam in holographic inserts by 2006. Well, I mean, how do we... does anyone know, like, if they actually did this in 2004 and 2006? I want to know. People who do not have a minimum of 3.75 accretion level, 3.75 accretion level constitutes full assembly of the third DNA strand and 75% of the fourth strand, will fall under the bio-neurological block of the frequency fence and will become subliminally controlled and directed by the Draco Zeta resistance. Subliminally controlled. I wonder, I wish they would elaborate a little more on subliminally controlled. Because the Matrix Control have always used subliminal messaging and stuff. You know, it's all in the music, it's in the Hollywood films, it's on the television shows. Subliminal messaging is like everywhere. It's always been for many, many decades. I mean, way before even this book was released. This includes those of you in the interior government who are foolish enough to believe that these EBEs are your allies. No one will know they are being controlled. Those under the new frequency fence will become cut off from their personal intuitive senses and organic connection to their soul matrix. Okay, well, I mean, you know, it's 2025, and there's a lot of people running around that are definitely not disconnected from their intuitive senses. I mean, if I look around now, I mean, there's more people waking up intuitively, using their intuition, activating their pineal glands. You know, even like when going to Dr. Joe Dispenza's the workshops, and you know, that guy's traveling all around the world doing workshops, teaching people how to do this. And as he's not the only one, there's a whole bunch of people doing it. You know, there's ayahuasca retreats that are fully booked all throughout the year. There's mass awakening on social media of people learning how to develop psychic abilities, learning how to use their pineal gland, becoming spiritually awakened. They will be unable to further assemble the DNA strands, and thus will not be able to participate in accelerated evolution and the coming ascension opportunity. The EBEs will offer a new belief system of a religious nature that will teach subservience to a higher order of spiritual hierarchy, which will become the belief catalyst for the New World Order, or covert control and dominion foretold in your biblical stories. Well, yeah, it seems like that conflict is still going on to this day. When the Phantom Earth enters the 2012-2017 period, there will be geographical and climate changes on Earth, the degree of which we cannot fully foresee. The severity of these changes will depend completely on how the Earth's grid reacts to the frequency disruptions of the frequency fence. It is the frequency fence that will be primarily responsible for causing severe Earth changes, so if the 2003 infiltration is stopped, the severity of potential Earth changes between 2012 and 2017 can be significantly reduced. Well, was it stopped? I mean, I didn't really notice anything that out of the ordinary that happened between 2012 and 2017. I mean, in terms of like geographical changes. What do you think might happen to your nuclear weapons and reactors if such Earth changes take place? It is time your governments began considering these issues. If these events go unchecked and the frequency fence plan is not diverted, Excuse me. Let me read that again. So if the frequency fence is not diverted, it is presently estimated that about 40% of Earth's surface will be heavily affected by these changes. 50% of this 40% taking place within the territories belonging to the USA. Okay, well, I mean, I don't remember anything too crazy happening between 2012 and 2017 in USA. These estimates may change depending up how this Earth drama unfolds between now and 2012. Needless to say, the cultures of Earth's Dimension 3 time cycle would be adversely affected. The population surviving such events would remain under covert Draco Zeta resistance control, unaware of the truth that had caused them such suffering. We reiterate, these events can still be changed before 2003 if the interior government changes its agreements with the resistant forces. There is a tentative plan by the Draco Zeta resistance to stage a public landing in 2001. I don't think that happened. After allowing bits of information concerning their presence to reach the general public, they intend to send their Rutilia operatives, which in parentheses Zeta Dracos hybrids that resemble Zeta Greys called EBEs, by the covert government, to members of the interior government posing as emissaries. They will offer technology and friendship. Do not trust them. We implore the interior government on Earth to refuse any and all dealings with these beings, for they are not your allies nor friends. They are attempting to pull a covert Trojan horse stunt on you. They can succeed only if you open the gates, enter agreements with them, and allow them to convince you to orchestrate experiments, the consequences of which you do not understand. The Bridge Zone project will remain operable regardless of the choices of the interior government. Humans are advised to begin working with the higher chakra centers to accelerate the assembly and alignment of the third and fourth DNA strands before 2004. If the resistance is successful in orchestrating the frequency fence in 2004, humans whose DNA has not reached the 3.5 accretion level will be susceptible to the perceptual distortions caused by the frequency fence. You can all learn to protect yourselves from this manipulation if you take responsibility for working with your bioenergetic system to accelerate DNA assembly. Reach for spiritual integration with your soul identity while it is easy to do so. For if you begin this integration process now by assembling DNA strands 3 and 4, it will completely protect you from the frequency fence. If you fall under Draco Zeta control, you will continue to evolve as souls upon the descending planet. You will not consciously realize that you are being controlled and subliminally manipulated. Experientially, those who are under the frequency fence control will be unable to perceive the effects of the multidimensional changes taking place between 2012 and 2017. What do you think about that? I mean, I know between, after around 2010, 2011, 2012, on the internet, a lot of content started to go viral about DMT and the pineal gland and the third eye and all that stuff. I mean, that's when I first found out about the pineal gland and how it's a portal to other dimensions. It was around I think it was around 2010 or 2011. And then I really started to read into it more, just over the years. If the Earth changes meet or exceed the damage we have estimated, human culture will be dealt a severe blow, and your social, political, and economic structures will be unable to easily recuperate from these events. If we are successful in convincing the interior government to stop negotiations with the Draco's Zeta resistance and the experiments of 2003 does not take place, a different reality picture will be perceived by those remaining in the Dimension 3 time cycle. I want to know if this experiment took place or not. How do we find that out? Localized grid imbalances will most likely still occur, and climatic deviations will continue to accelerate until 2017. Your primary social structures will remain intact, but national disaster relief funds and insurance organizations may collapse due to an overabundance of claims and needed expenditure. If the resistance is unable to employ the frequency fence by 2004, which they cannot do if the 2003 experiment does not take place, they will have little recourse. As long as the interior government refuses dealing with the resistance will be unable to orchestrate a full infiltration into human society. Once the Earth grid passes through 2017, without the complications of the frequency fence and the primary vulnerability of the portal structures, or portal structure EBBS, Guardian visitors will be able to enforce a ban on Draco Zeta presence, and these intruders will leave. I want to know, did they leave, or are they still here? Your government systems will still evolve under the influence of the human interior government. Guardian visitors will again attempt to make contact with this covert organization in order to establish public contract procedures through which human social conscience and order can be redirected toward peaceful evolution. Humans remaining in the Dimension 3 time track will still find themselves evolving on a descending planet, and the opportunity to rapidly evolve the fifth DNA strand will have passed, as the Phantom Earth will not receive the full infusion of the Dimension 5 frequency. You will reincarnate on this descending planet until you can assemble the 3rd through 5th DNA strands, which is a slow process that takes numerous lifetimes, except during the acceleration opportunity presented in the Ascension cycle. If you die after 2022 without the Dimension 4 and 5 frequency patterns assembled in your personal morphogenetic field, reincarnation in Harmonic Universe 1 will be mandatory. This is simply the nature of the energy dynamics involved in soul evolution. While evolving on a descending planet it is very important for individuals to have conscious knowledge of ascension mechanics, for the opportunity of spontaneous mass ascension is no longer an option. Guardian visitors will assist in keeping this knowledge alive and available to humans remaining on Phantom Earth in the Dimension 3 time cycle. We pray that each individual can be reached with this message, so the opportunity of ascension and freedom is not lost to your present identity. If the 2003 experiment of the Draco's Zeta frequency fence can be averted, those in the Dimension 3 time cycle will follow a different path of evolution than humans in the Bridge Zone and Ascension time cycles. They will have the opportunity to evolve more slowly, yet still have the option of free will and more open contact with Guardian races. The severity of Earth changes during the 2012 to 2017 transition will be greatly reduced. If the Draco's Zeta resistance is successful in 2003, life in Dimension 3 will continue under their covert dominion, and Earth changes will take place between 2012 and 2017. Once Dimension 3 Earth is under resistant frequency fence control, the Draco's Zeta resistance will be motivated to protect their vested interests on Earth from Guardian tampering. If the resistance gains leverage and confidence through successfully orchestrating the frequency fence, it will be very difficult for the Guardians to enforce a ban on them without direct military confrontation. Such a Star Wars confrontation between Resistance and Guardian forces would have further catastrophic consequences for Dimension 3 Earth, and it has not been decided by the Guardian legions whether such intervention would be conducted. The Guardians are taking a let's wait and see what happens approach to this subject. The Guardians can only protect humanity from the consequences of its choices for so long, after which point full responsibility for personal evolution must be returned to the human race. The opportunity to create a self-protection is now being offered through the Guardians' attempts to educate humanity. If this opportunity is ignored, the humans remaining in Dimension 3 time cycle will have to accept responsibility for their selected ignorance and face the consequences of covert Dracos Zeta rule. Further Guardian intervention would only be considered if the Dimension 3 populations made a show of effort to take responsibility and make the needed changes prior to 2017. The Guardians are willing to help those who are willing to help themselves, but have little patience left for those who refuse to learn, grow, and become responsible for their choices. If the Bridge Zone project is not successful, Earth will remain in Harmonic Universe 1 under Draco Zeta's rule, and your incarnational destiny on Harmonic Universe 1 Earth will meet a premature end in 2976 AD. The majority of the human population can avoid these less favorable futures by seizing the opportunity of accelerated evolution represented by the Bridge Zone project. And then the next one is Time Track. This is number 3, Time Track 3, the Bridge Zone Dimension 3.5 time cycle, 2,213-year leap into the future. The third time track available to humanity in 2017 is that leading into the Bridge Zone, individuals having a 4.5 accretion level assembly of the full fourth DNA strand and half of the fifth will enter the Bridge Zone time continuum. We need a critical mass of people to reach 4.5 accretion levels before 2012 in order for the Earth's grid to raise high enough in speed to enter the Bridge Zone in 2012. Well, did we enter this Bridge Zone in 2012? I don't know. How do we know? The accretion level of Earth is being continually measured and monitored. And as of this writing, which is in August 1998, things look quite promising. Okay, when I first started reading this, I thought it was 2003. I mean, it actually says that on the PDF. It says 2003, but over here it says that this writing was in 1988. So, just want to make that little correction there. This book was written in 1988. Maybe it was the PDF or something was published in 2003. Recent events involving the sphere of Amente have given us much encouragement for the success of the Bridge Zone project, and we are still on schedule for the opening of the halls of Amente in 2012. The transition of Earth moving into the Bridge Zone project began in 1997 as we infuse Earth's grid with UHF energy to assist in raising the particle pulsation rate of Earth's core. The speed of Earth's core particles will be progressively raised between now and 2012. As Earth progressively moves closer to 2012, a subtle division will begin to appear with the populations of Earth. Those with higher accretion rates will progressively find themselves surrounded by others of similar accretion levels, and those of lower accretion rates will likewise group. Well, that's definitely true. I've definitely noticed that. The higher spiritually awakened aware people, they form their little communities, while all the NPC robots and stuff, they all flock together still. You see a more apparent division between what you consider the light and dark forces moving within your populations. Okay, yeah, we definitely see that. You may see extremes of this condition, especially in geological areas in proximity to the 7 major Earth vortices chakras. We will discuss the vortices in following pages. Small-scale wars may break out in some areas, motivated covertly by visiting members of the ancient Anunnaki resistance who entered orbit around Earth in Dimension 4 in 1997, with the intention of amplifying the potentials of Earth changes to see the downfall of human culture. Oh, yes, we definitely see that. The Anunnaki resistance will not directly intervene, nor do they work with the Draco Zeta resistance. They are simply here to see Earth purged of what they consider the cosmic virus of the human race. Yeah, that's probably referring to the Anunnaki gods like Yahweh, the ones that the Christians worshipped. They will motivate conflict and personal and collective strife by attempting to manipulate people from the Dimension 4 astral plane. Their purpose is to increase grid instability, as they know this will amplify any Earth changes that may occur. They are not as highly motivated as the Draco's Zeta Resistance and will not attempt direct interference in Earth affairs so as to avoid direct conflict with the Syrian Council, their Council loyalist Anunnaki brothers, and the other Guardian groups from the Harmonic Universe 2 and 3. They are simply game players who will try to tip the balances of the unfolding Earth drama in favor of human extinction. The only people who will be susceptible to Anunnaki resistance manipulation will be those who have low accretion levels and who have not learned to put protective energetic barriers around the astral identity. How do you put a protective barrier around your astral identity? Anyone working consciously and sincerely to integrate the soul identity will have protection from the Anunnaki resistance manipulation. Humans with high accretion levels will be called upon to assist the Guardian races in building a frequency block in Dimension 4 to protect Earth's major frequency portals vortices from Anunnaki resistance energy transmissions. Guardians from the Andromeda Galaxy presently have Earth's vortices sealed under a protective Dimension 4 frequency seal, but in the event that the Anunnaki resistance manage to decode the frequency seal coordinates, which they occasionally do, requiring repeated Guardian resealing of the vortices, the Andromes will need human help to ground a more sophisticated vortex frequency seal. Human light workers involved in the Portal Project are presently on standby waiting for the time when they will be called into service. Human light workers will also assist in keeping the portal regions balanced on Earth between 2012 and through 2022. ET influences is the next part. Presently, the human collective moves together towards the three divergent tracks of time. By 2012, the divisions within the populations will be set as three groups with three different accretion levels begin to move into their appropriate track of time. Those on the ascension track will have already made preparations in their DNA and have a more conscious understanding of the process with which they are involved. Those on the descending planet time track will proceed with business as usual, unaware of the changes taking place around them. If the Draco's Zeta frequency fence is successful, the peripheral blindness of those on the descending planet track will be amplified. There may exaggerated movements from within the interior government to ban, discredit, confuse, or black out from the public view information pertaining to ascension mechanics, advanced multidimensional technologies, and the truth of visitor agendas. Well, yeah, that's 100% true. I mean, I've been censored like freaking crazy for talking about all this stuff over the years. Especially when we get into like the DNA manipulation and how humans are being farmed by aliens and stuff like that. I've been censored like crazy for talking about that. These tactics are already being used to keep the general populations unaware of what is taking place regarding extraterrestrial and metaterrestrial contact. You will see counter movements emerging through which genuine information is made available to those who will listen. Many of the traditional religious organizations will be used as disinformation vehicles through which the public is taught to view the new information as quote-unquote evil. This tactic is orchestrated through Zeta human infiltrates presently working within various organizations. You will see many distraction tactics emerging through which public attention is purposely and covertly directed away from the issues of spiritual development and into fear-based conflict-laden agendas. Yeah, that's absolutely 100% true. It's still going on to this day. The threats of economic disaster, war, and famine, as well as menial issues, will be all used through covertly manipulated media propaganda to divert the public attention away from the real issues taking place. The Zetas are expert propagandists and subliminal manipulators, and are quite accustomed to subliminally influencing the unsuspecting minds of humans in key positions to carry out their bidding. Yeah, see, I've already told you, the government is controlled by aliens. All these idiots don't believe me. The propaganda program which has convinced the majorities of extraterrestrial presence is not real, and has been in effect since the 1940s. And you will see a continuation of acceleration of this propaganda until about 2001, when the program will be changed to begin preparing the public for the intended EBE contact. When information about the possible validity of extraterrestrial presence begins to make it into public view, the Draco's Zeta Resistance will present themselves as guardians and attempt to make guardian groups appear as intruders. The Resistance may orchestrate a mass landing in 2001, but only if they are confident that they will succeed in motivating human interior government to conduct the 2003 experiment. Well, I don't remember any landing in 2001. I don't believe that happened. If by 2001 the Resistance fears the frequency fence plan will not succeed, they will not stage a landing. They will still work to instigate the 2003 experiment and may increase their abductions within the general populace, making it appear as though guardian groups are responsible in order to trick the interior government to continue with the 2003 experiment. The shift in the perspective of the propaganda program will take place between 2001 to 2003, if it takes place at all. If news validating the reality of the visiting ET presence reaches public distribution networks by 2001, you can be sure the Draco Zeta frequency fence plan is still in operation and that interior government continues to work with the Resistance. If a mass level public landing takes place anytime between 2001 and 2003, realize these are not friendly visitors regardless of what they claim. In the event that the frequency fence plan remains operational and Resistance schedules its mass landing, several Guardian ET groups may create mass sightings to increase public awareness of the reality of ET presence. They will not conduct a mass landing or initiate physical contact on a public or governmental level if the Guardians deem such flyby tactics necessary. These events may take place anywhere between 2003 and 2000 or 2000 and 2003. I mean, there's been a ton of flyby tactics over the years. I mean, over the past decade or so, the enormous amount of UFO sightings, and everyone's filming on their cell phones now and posting them on the internet. So there's tons of them. The purpose of such an event will be to warn humans who are aware of these hidden agendas that the Resistance still plans infiltration. If the Guardians' flybys occur, this is intended as a sign for the population to begin preparation for Earth changes, because if the frequency fence is employed, some degree of tectonic shifting will result. Be aware, if you begin experiencing mass flybys between 2000 and 2003, you need to make provisions for coming climatic and Earth changes. In this event, the Guardians will provide information on safe place locations through their private human contacts. If the Resistance believe its infiltration plan will not succeed, they will not land between 2001 and 2003, and the Guardians will not conduct mass flybys. The old propaganda program of blocking public awareness of extraterrestrial presence will resume, and the interior government will continue to distract public attention from this issue so as to retain control of the populations. If the 2003 experiment is stopped, the Resistance needs the cooperation of the interior government for this experiment to be successful. There will still be 3 tracks of time facing the human populace. In the Dimension 3 time cycle, descending planet track, the Draco's Resistance will leave of their own accord, knowing they cannot claim dominion over human population, and that after 2017 Guardians can enforce a ban on Draco's Zeta presence. If the Earth's grid is balanced in 2012, the Draco's Zeta Resistance and the Anunnaki Resistance will leave. Well, do you feel like they left? It's 2025. I don't think they left. Earth's populations can then focus upon the primary issues at hand, assisting the Guardians to keep the Earth's grid balanced and accelerating personal evolution in preparation for the opening of the Halls of Amente between 2012 and 2022. If 92% of Earth's populations could reach a 4.5 accretion level by 2012, no one would take the second track of time back into the Dimension 3 time cycle of the descending Earth. This is not likely, however, so as it stands, some of the Earth's population will need or will indeed, return to the Dimension 3 continuum. These are the only individuals susceptible to the Dracos Zeta frequency fence, and we hope that the interior government will stop the 2003 experiment so these individuals do not have to contend with the frequency fence and resulting changes of the Dimension 3 Earth. If humans begin working now to consciously assemble DNA and increase accretion level, there is still time to become immune to that intended frequency fence and prepare to leave the Dimension 3 continuum. If you can achieve a 4.5 accretion level by 2012, you will automatically end up in the bridge zone continuum in 2017. As long as 8% of Earth's populations reach a 5 accretion level, 144,000 people reach a 6 accretion level, and about 40% reach a 4.5 level, the bridge zone project will be successfully. In approaching the bridge zone time track, humans will perceive a growing gap between the populations following old fear-based agendas and those following the path of personal enlightenment between 1998 and 2012. Those on the bridge zone path will begin to bond together in their global network of enlightenment, doing personal and planetary energy healing work and preparation for stellar activations. The schedule of events leading up to the opening of the Halls of Mente will continue to unfold up to 2012, when Earth's grid begins to merge with Terra and the Halls of Mente begin to open. As this schedule of events proceeds, the population divisions will begin to fall out of range of each other or of each other's perspectives. Those headed to the bridge zone will experience progressively more awareness of multidimensional reality, personal purpose, and incarnational memory, as the sphere of Amente progressively releases more of the race memory back into the Earth's grid. The multidimensional memory will be available to everyone. Those who will access this memory will be people who have the genetic ability to pull higher frequency into their operational genetic codes. The more DNA you assemble, the higher your accretion level, the more information and memory you will be able to draw from the Earth's grid. The consciousness of the accelerating individuals will rapidly expand, while the awareness of people entering the descending planet will remain about the same. Well, yeah, we definitely see that happening. I mean, a lot of people are, their consciousness expansion is like massively accelerating, while you got a lot of people just running around like zombies, also known as NPC robots. You ever walked around a Walmart on a Saturday? You're going to see them everywhere. Between 1998 and 2012, these two groups of people will progressively become more invisible to each other as the procession of the lives moves in opposite directions. There will appear to be a natural sequence of events that occur as individuals of lower accretion begin to move out of the lives of those of higher accretion levels, to be replaced by new individuals who have a higher accretion level. Those of lower accretion levels will find themselves more and more in like company. Well, yeah, that's definitely taking place right now. The progressive separation of populations will take place as the particles which compose the bodies and consciousness of people with higher accretion DNA strand assembly levels, of the people of higher accretion DNA strand assembly levels begin to pulsate at progressively faster rhythms, moving people of higher and lower accretion levels farther and farther out of each other's perceptual range. During the coming transitions, particle fields are separating. The bodies and consciousness of people are made of particles. Thus, humanity will also experience separation of its peoples into those with faster and slower particle pulsation rhythms. All humans will experience Earth's temporary shift into the Dimension 4 time cycle and the stellar activations that create this shift. Humans with lower accretion levels will have difficulty assimilating the frequencies of the stellar activations. The stellar activations will create time acceleration for the people of Earth. This acceleration can be used to advance the evolutionary blueprint through consciously assimilating these energies into the body in order to create greater health, vitality, harmony, and awareness. If the new frequencies are not assembled, but if the new frequencies are not assimilated into the body, the time acceleration will apply to the degeneration of the body and consciousness and the manifestation of disharmony and disease. The bridge zone populations will accelerate their ability to access Guardian information, and some will become involved in subtle communication with Guardian groups. In 2012, when the more intensive changes begin, localized climatic deviations and smaller Earth changes may arise, and the bridge zone people will pull together to help each other through these changes. Between 2009 through 2017, those in the bridge zone will begin to see certain public organizations, businesses, and institutions either reach their natural ends or begin to take their operations in a more enlightened direction. Those on the descending planet will not perceive these changes. Some of the bridge zone people will become aware that the inner Earth portals have opened and will have invitation to explore those realms. Some of the structures of the inner Earth geography will begin to emerge on the bridge zone Earth. New islands will be discovered on Earth during this transition period, and new organizations of spiritual and social order will begin to emerge. Some groups of individuals will have open contact with various guardian extraterrestrial and metaterrestrial visitors. The particle base of both the descending Earth and the bridge zone Earth will enter the Dimension 4 time cycle between 2012 through 2017. The infusions of Dimension 5 through Dimension 9 energy will enter the grid of bridge zone Earth, and the spontaneous assembly of the fifth DNA strand imprint will begin within the populations whose accretion level at 2012 place them in the pulsation rhythms of the bridge zone time track. The two Earths will coexist simultaneously within the Dimension 4 time cycle between 2012 and 2017, and each of the two groups of people will simultaneously perceive two different sets of events. In order to comprehend the nature of these changes, one must realize that the energy dynamics taking place involve Earth's particle base being separated into two different rhythms of particle pulsation, and the particle substance out of which human bodies and consciousness are composed will also experience such a separation. In 2017, human populations will completely separate into two groups, each perceiving a different set of events. These events will take place in two separate fields of particle pulsation rhythm. It will be as if part of the population switched the channel on the television set of manifest events. One group remains watching the old channel, the other group switches to the channel of perception to a new station. The particle pulsation rhythm of the entire Earth will temporarily be raised to the rhythm of Dimension 4 frequencies between May 5th, 2000 and January 2012. The Guardians will infuse Earth's particle base with UHF Dimension 4 energy transmissions until May 5th, 2000. The portion of Earth's particle base that can hold this frequency pattern will increase to a higher Dimension 4 pulsation rate and begin the stellar activation cycle, while the portions of Earth's particle base that cannot hold this frequency will remain at the lower Dimension 4 rate of pulsation. In the bridge zone particle base, the angular rotation of particle spin will be altered by the Guardians in order for it to be transferred into the pulsation rhythms of the bridge zone Agartha time continuum in 2017. The angular rotation of particle spin of Earth's higher vibrating particles base will be shifted 22.5 degrees in reverse from the angle of particle rotation of Earth's lower vibrating particle base. The separation of particle pulsation rhythms will reach completion in 2017, just when Earth's grid is in full alignment with that of Terra and the holographic beam passes through the photon belt into direct alignment with Earth's seventh vortex chakra. As the energies of the holographic beam pass into the Earth's bioenergetic field in 2017, the higher and lower vibrating particle bases of Earth will completely separate. The lower vibrating particle base will rapidly drop in vibration and return to the pulsation rhythm of the Dimension 3 time continuum. The higher vibrating particle base will complete its 22.5 degrees reverse shift in angular rotation of particle spin and fix its pulsation rhythm at the 3.5 accretion level of the bridge zone Agartha time continuum. When this separation transition completes in 2017, the populations will find themselves permanently divided into two separate groups. Perceptual stations. Group 1, Descending Planet Perceptual Station. Humans with lower accretion levels will perceive none of the multidimensional activity that is taking place. As long as the frequency fence is not operational, they will not experience massive Earth changes, but some localized shifting may occur. They will experience a 3-day period of tension, fatigue, and accelerated atmospheric pressure, and a temporary disruption of the function of electrical apparatus at the height of the separation from Earth's higher vibration grid in 2017. Scientists may detect old variations in Earth's magnetic fields and a sudden, unexplainable increase in gamma ray activity. Solar storms and flare activity will appear to increase for several months, then rapidly return to normal appearance. At the height of the separation, a phenomenon that resembles a prolonged spontaneous solar eclipse may occur, depending upon the stability of Earth's bioenergetic field. The most notable occurrence will be that numerous groups of people will seem to have vanished from the Earth without a trace. Did anyone notice numerous groups of people vanishing from Earth without a trace? There will be no explanation for these vanishings in conventional terms. Well, that didn't happen. So, again, a lot of this, some of the stuff in this book, it seems a little fishy, especially because they were calling out all this stuff to happen at certain dates and times. And did you see a bunch of people like just vanish randomly without a trace? I didn't see that. For Earth in the Dimension 3 continuum, little will have appeared to change, and populations will move forth into their Dimension 3 evolution. The halls of Amenti will be closed to them, as will the portals of the inner Earth. They will experience massive Earth changes only in the event that the frequency fence is operational. A lot of this, like this stuff here where it says, the most notable occurrence will be that numerous groups of people will have seemed to vanish. This is like the rapture nonsense that pastor named Nelson Darby put in some footnotes in the 1800s, and then the church and the corporate religious industrial complex latched onto it and ran propaganda campaigns for it. And they made a whole freaking book series called Left Behind. They made a television series called Left Behind. They tried to freak everyone out, saying if you don't participate in our dogmas and superstitions, you're going to get left behind on this horrible earth that's just going to be in decline, and there's going to be fire and chaos and death and disease and war, and you're going to get left behind in all this if you don't repent and give us your money and say our stupid little dogmas and shit. This is it's just another. It sounds like the rapture, which is all nonsense. It's a Hegelian dialectic. All right, let's keep reading. In either case, guardians will assist in realigning the planetary grids and returning the Earth to stability. In the event that a frequency fence is operational, the Dimension 3 populations will be totally unaware of the changes taking place, including the vanishings, as holographic inserts will be used to block perception of these events. Okay, so now they're saying, hang on a second. So first they say, there's going to be all these people vanishing, and there's going to be no explanation. But then it says over here that the populations will be totally unaware of the changes taking place because there's going to be a holographic insert that will be used to block the perception of the events. All right, let's just keep reading. Only the Earth changes would be apparent to the Dimension 3 populations. Descending planet populations will remain in Dimension 3 time continuum, and the opportunity for mass ascension will no longer be possible in the future. Ascension for individuals will have to be orchestrated through host matrix transplants. If the frequency fence becomes operational in 2004, they will see Earth changes and will be under covert Draco Zeta resistance mind control. If not, they will slowly evolve and reincarnate towards building the 4th and 5th DNA strands through host matrix assistance. Okay, this one says Group 2, Bridge Zone Perceptual Station. The populations who shift into the bridge zone will experience more obvious phenomena of change as the two particle bases of Earth complete their 2017 separation. Many structures of inorganic substance composed of lower vibration or vibrating particles will simply appear to vanish, as well as populations having lower accretion levels. New island land masses will have appeared to emerge out of the oceans, seemingly overnight. Did anyone notice new islands seemingly overnight appearing? I didn't. New passageways into the Earth will be found that lead into the inner Earth territories. The most amazing phenomenon to manifest in the bridge zone will be the sudden appearance of buildings, roads, and other structures of civilizations that did not remember having existed prior to the shift. Did anyone notice a bunch of new roads and buildings and structures that just appeared out of nowhere? I sure didn't. Earth's bridge zone populations will find themselves in old familiar territories having the new twist of people, organizations, landscapes, and social structures that resemble that or what was, but which are operating at a higher level of vibration, pulsation, and enlightenment. In 2017, portions of the inner Earth, Agartha civilizations, will be suddenly visible, and it will seem as if they had always been there. Well, it's 2025. None of this happened. So, it's an interesting book, but there's just a lot of like woo-woo stuff in here that just seems like another spin-off and rebranding of the Rapture Ascension nonsense. I mean, not saying that all of the Ascension stuff is nonsense, because I definitely believe there's a lot of truth to be found within this stuff. But when someone writes a book and puts all these future, what's the word I'm looking for? These prophecies, and claims that all this stuff is going to happen in 2017, and then like none of it happens, and we're in 2025. It's just, it's hard for me to really retain it's hard for this book and the lady Ashiana, in my opinion, it's hard for her to really retain a lot of credibility and merit in my eyes when people start throwing out these dates and times and when these specific things she claims is going to happen, and then like none of it happens. It's like, well, it's like, how am I supposed to take this entire book seriously if these claims, or you're putting out these claims that are just obviously wrong and didn't happen? This may create a bit of a temporary time, space, and memory disorientation to the populations of the bridge zone during the height of the separation in 2017. The bridge zone populations will also experience a 3-day period of tension and sensation of atmospheric pressure, and they may perceive the appearance of very high bright moon halos or 2 moons in the sky during this 3-day period. Did anyone see 2 moons in the sky in 2017? I sure didn't. If there was 2 moons in the sky in 2017, the whole freaking world would have filmed it with their iPhones and posted it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. For this reason, we refer to the bridge zone time continuum as the path of the night of the 2 moons. If you perceive these lunar effects in 2017, you will know that you have entered the bridge zone time continuum. Well, I didn't see those, so maybe I didn't enter this bridge zone time continuum. But I also doubt its existence entirely, because this sounds like a lot of New Age, woo-woo, spiritual psyop, Savior Messiah psyop shit. In the bridge zone, more open relations with guardian visitors will begin, and humanity will continue to evolve along a more enlightened, accelerated path. New fuel sources, such as photonic energy containment, will be discovered, as well as many new technologies based upon light, sound, and chelonic science. As the bridge zone Earth will receive the infusion of D5 and Dimension 9 energy during the 2012 to 2017 period, the populations will have the opportunity to assemble the 5th DNA strand and become Voyagers and enter the path of the time travel ascension to Terra. Some will also have the opportunity to assemble DNA beyond the fifth strand and enter the the accelerated path of mastery to ascend to Gaia or the metagalactic core. Bridge zone populations will be completely free from intruding ET visitor manipulation. Perceptually, the sensation of lightness or less weight will be felt in the atmosphere and with the body, and a greater feeling of peace, optimism, and personal vibrancy will be experienced. Higher chakra centers in the human bioenergetic system will come into activation, and the conscious integration of soul awareness will accelerate. We have undertaken great labors to provide you with this detailed and often complex information concerning the changes your race will soon encounter. We wanted you to be prepared. We wanted you to know what is going on so you can begin to make good conscious choices now to ensure your highest evolutionary potential. Knowledge is power, thus we have given the gift of power to those who care enough to use it, or to use this gift wisely. Now that we have provided you with with the basic foundations of knowledge concerning the coming changes Earth and the human populations will face, our primary interest is to prepare you for the opportunity of the opening of the halls of Amente. We will give you an idea of what to expect and when and how each of you can best prepare for the future you prefer to experience. As previously mentioned, there is a schedule of events that the Guardians have to follow to ensure the opening of the halls of Amente. Timing of these events is crucial in the success of Amente opening, and so far everything is right on schedule. Well, that was the end of chapter 9. And, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this chapter with all this future 2012 propaganda. Because remember before 2012, the mainstream media propaganda machine went freaking nuts with fear porn about 2012. And this book, especially this chapter, this just reminds me of a lot of fear porn and hype and anticipation to 2012 being this time where like the freaking earthquakes are going to destroy the cities. Remember the 2012 movie, how all the fear about the whole world being destroyed and all this stuff, and then it's and the ascension stuff and then 2012 passed, nothing happened, no one ascended, nothing changed, except for people just becoming more and more impoverished with debt enslavement by the government and the fiat money systems. So, I don't know. I don't blindly accept what she's saying here. Like I'm a believe it when I see it. Show me the proof. Okay, we're gonna continue chapter 10 in another upload.